Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Paula Hodgson from CLEAR. Welcome to this last session for the Expo. It's always exciting to see people when you have a lot of enthusiasm to want to find out more about teaching and learning. My presentation today is MOOC, Design for Learning. I don't know when you heard of MOOC. The first time I was exposed to MOOC was probably about 2 years ago, if not longer. At that time, I heard people talking about MOOC, and people who are from, in this kind of exhibition or conferences, they talk about MOOC. And at the time, I thought, okay, I'll do something about it when I retired. And what happened is, last year, I was not working in a full capacity. That is, I got more time to myself. And I said to myself, I need to do something about it, because I don't want to just listen about MOOC. I want to have a personal experience about MOOC. Personal experience means that even though I was not in the capacity to develop or to organize, or if not to run a MOOC course, I want to be a student and feel what it's like when I am learning through MOOC. So that's my intention to share with you about some of my personal experience. The other part is I have been working as educational developer for 18 years. So when I look at MOOC, it's not just have fun or just have an experience. I look at it to examine how it's being designed, and at the same time looking at what are the good practices in MOOC, and in order to help me to have a better communication with colleagues who are interested to develop, if not to design MOOC. Today I'll talk a little bit about some background about MOOCs, and then I will talk about the 3 courses that I have gone through. Particularly, I look at how it's being sort of designed. And finally, I talk about what works if we want to design MOOC. Here are the top universities who offer MOOCs. The top universities include Stanford, MIT, Harvard, you name it, right? When I said the top, by number of courses that they offer. Those are the pioneer sort of universities who offer courses. Now you see there are over 100 MOOC courses by Stanford. So what about them, those courses being offered? This is actually a chart with only 217 courses from a website, and that they have collected the completion rates and also the type of assessment course or assessment used by these sort of courses. I think if without asking you, you think, wow, there are so many free courses available. There are so many people enrolling. They're bound to have a lot of success story. And of course, the reality is, we saw there are a lot of courses offered, and there are a lot of enrollment. People enroll in single course, some of them over 200K in one single course. But if you think about the percentage, the completion rate, you can sense the bigger the registration, the lower the completion rate. So it means a lot of people register but never finish. They just register and have a try. They never get through. So is there any reason why it happened? It's free. Why people can't complete these courses? And actually, when you look at the number who really completed it, it's around 15%. And in fact, when we read the literature, I think it's about 10%, if not lower. Can you imagine in a traditional course, you only got 10, if not 15% of students completed your course? You think, what happened to this course? When we look at the design of the assessment, because every course you've gone through, it's not just look and have fun. There is an assessment component in this course. From the same website, we look at the sort of courses who have completed. Quite a number of those are actually auto-grading. Means those courses offer teaching materials, and at the same time they use multiple choice as a means to assess the students, so that this is called auto-grading. Those are through multiple choice once they've gone through the complete, they have to go through a number of multiple choice and test their knowledge, their understanding. I talked about what happened, in the other part of the world. What about in Hong Kong? Well, we have local university design MOOCs. At the moment, UST got 21 courses offer, and for us, we got 5. Hong Kong U got 4, and same as PolyU. So, but we know they are growing interest to build more MOOCs in Hong Kong. And in Chinese U, literally, these are the 5 MOOCs offer in Chinese U. You can easily Google what sort of courses offer. And if you're interested, certainly you can enroll. Let's look at the features about MOOC. The features about MOOC, I think a number of you must have heard of. Oh, MOOC means free resources. What kind of free resources? Mostly, you are expected to watch some videos, recorded lectures, and then you might be asked to do weekly exercise, really quizzes. And luckily, you might get some feedback on some kind of assessment activities. Mostly, it's through the, if for multiple choice, you will learn how many you have done correctly, if not, how many points you score. The one thing is also in common is about the peer review exercise. If you are asked to do assignment, you'll be graded not by the tutor, but by the peers. Okay, let me talk a little bit about my personal experience of the 3 MOOC courses. First, I was kind of interested to find out what are the free courses, what are the platform. So I first checked about the edX. And for edX, I first look at, oh, there are so many courses. Around the time, oh, maybe I want to find out about copyright. So I register and look at it. It's archived, that is, it's gone, it's finished. That's not a live copyright course. But I can still register and read all the materials. The only thing I can do is talk, if not communicate with any peers, because the course has been archived. So I thought, okay, I'm looking for another course called Leaders of Learning, because I am in education, I want to find out more about learning, and it's offered by Harvard. And the other course I also registered around the same time, around the same period. I think a few days later, I also kind of, what about assessment? This is another thing I'm very interested in, is on assessment. Wow, there's a course called Assessment and Teaching of 21st Century Skills. Very interesting by the topic. So I thought, okay, it won't take me too much time. That's my assumption. It's just part-time, Maybe I spend an hour here and an hour there. Okay, I can manage 2 MOOCs at the same time. So that's what I did. But when I first chose the course, these are the sort of general information I got. A very brief description, the title, maybe roughly know the name of the professor. I didn't Google it. I just say, oh, this is the professor, okay. These are the kind of expectation, 4 to 6 hours per week. Okay. Yes, I think I can manage. And so as I get into the course, then I learn there are weekly activities. Means that you cannot just read everything at the same time. They will display the weekly activities week by week. And I have to do quizzes. Oh, I haven't done this exercise for a long time. Okay, I'll go through those quizzes. I try and see how I perform. And there is not much sort of requirement other than I need to respond to some question and then discuss it in the forum as part of the requirement when I finish watching those video. For this course, we got quite a lot of students. I can't remember whether 10,000, if not 20,000 registered for the course. And so for this course, we were kind of divided into 4 groups. So I'm really only discussed within my own subgroup. And we have to do one assignment, but I don't need to do the peer assessment. It's the senior group students who did the peer assessment. So this is the first course. The second course was conducted by 2 professors Esther Kerr and Patrick Griffins. They're from Melbourne U, and they are quite kind of spend a lot of time devoting to look into the collaborative problem-solving skills. And they use that as a framework to talk about the course. And throughout the course, again, well, okay, 4 to 5 hours per week. Okay, I think I can manage. Again, at the same time, remember I'm doing 2 courses at the same time. I have to watch video, read quite a bit of resources in both courses. It's not just watching video. No. That's a wrong assumption. It's not about watching videos. It's about reading a lot of journal articles, a lot of web resources, which a lot of students didn't tell you. That's actually reality. A lot of reading, okay? And then some quizzes. Again, assignment. This time, got 2 written assignments. 2. In that 6 week, I have to do 2 writings. And we have to do peer review. Personally, I have to read 3 other students' work and do 2 rounds of peer review. A third course called Inspiring Leadership Through Emotional Intelligence. This course I joined in after I complete the first 2. Because I finished the first 2, I felt, it's not that difficult. It's not that impossible. I managed the course. But then afterwards, I decided, okay, I only register one at a time, so that I can enjoy it, not rushing through all the reading, doing exercise. And again, okay, it's at 3 to 4 hours per week. That's what it said. That's not true. Literally, apart from watching video, a lot of discussion, a lot of structure, exercise, this one, the difference between the first 2 courses, they call an action learning assignments. Action learning means it's not about reading. It's not about sort of watching and then testing whether you remember the video. You literally to do some mini study. And that is, you have to go out and do some studies before you do the assignment, which I didn't anticipate. I didn't think this is what MOOC meant. But it happened in that course. So, as individual activities, there are some commonalities of these courses, which I have already discussed. If you look at my diary, this is my personal diary, how I devoted my time to go through, these are the color things, how I read through between the 2 courses. Almost, don't tell my boss at that time. I didn't tell him I spent almost the full days throughout the week doing the MOOCs. Huh? What am I doing my job? At that time, the workload was very light, very light. So I thought I can manage to do my full-time study and my part-time job. And one thing what I found out through these 3 courses is pretty much there's a lot of dialogic interactions. That is, particularly in the forum. There are so many emails coming through across the 3 courses. And at the same time, there are some structured interactions with the instructor, if not the tutor. Not much. Mostly, actually, things are around the forum discussion. And more importantly, particularly when I did the assignment, it's not about writing. It's about making inquiry, making self-reflection. So there's a lot of interactions happening when I learn through MOOCs. For the interactions, I want to show some point. You think we have to do forum discussion. You may imagine things posted 5 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, 6 hours ago, 3 days ago. So the flow of discussion keeps growing and flowing. So if you really want to read them, you will really have to spend a lot of time reading all this discussion. And there are asynchronous interactions with others. Sometimes I may miss out a discussion directly to me, which was actually 12 days ago. But when I pick it up, okay, I still respond to it. And in terms of the tutor, there are tutors reading some posting, not every posting. So occasionally we'll receive some posting raised by the tutor. Again, I respond to it 11 days afterwards. The other options of interaction with the professors, they do have some live sort of hangout time. They set it up. However, you can imagine it's a very different time zone. It's in the States. So supposedly, I need to log on 1 o'clock in the morning. And you can imagine I couldn't manage it. So there are a lot of interactions in the learning process. And this is one of the key things. Learning is not about reading and watching. Learning is about interactions. And MOOC, this is one of the features. MOOC rely a lot on the interactions between people. For me, something is not just about international or global learners. It's how I can reflect on my own practice, particularly when I do the assignment. The reflective practice can be very structured according to the question set up by the course tutor. But there are other sort of things that I can actually interact with because of the assignment the design in the assignment. Literally, I have to talk to my family members, my colleagues, in order to find out more about myself. So it's the action element that builds in the design of the assessment that helped me to kind of practice the theories as I learned through the course. As I mentioned, after I completed 2 courses, I got into my 3rd one because there is a lot of feedback through the system. The feedback in terms of how much have I completed, how am I going, how did I score across different activities. So that encouraged me to continue. That is, instead of finding it too difficult or too much, I feel like I want to continue and complete the whole course. And by the end, I didn't check the course, but afterwards, the course on emotional intelligence was rated the 7th out of the 10 top popular courses in 2014. So back to the focus on the design of learning. There are so many learners with different needs, have different interests for different courses. One thing is, I think, build up the feedback to the learner is very important because the build-up can be from the peers through the forum. It can be from the result generated through the exercise. And that gives an internal sort of feedback on how I am learning at the same time. And regarding to the design of the assessment, often what I can learn is about the reflection about things happening, not about how much I read about the article. So therefore, if we think about the diverse learners, most important thing is video is only one part. The type of reading materials can be about maybe some with academic journals, but you need to mix in video, text, and in order to help the students with different learning style. And at the same time, because different groups have different interests, you can, or the tutor can create different kind of groups in the forum to attract people with the common interests. And hopefully, if there are more live communication with the tutor, it will be even better. For the assessment, the automated quizzes will be one of the core sort of activity. The peer grading system had a lot of concern and sort of frustration when we asked peers to do the peer grading. A lot of the students, because they have diverse background, very often the way of doing peer grading is a bit dodgy. Some know what to do, some don't. But they're asked to do the peer grading. So if we really design to have the peer grading activities, the students should first learn about what does peer grading mean in terms of some kind of practice before they do the actual peer assessment. When we talk about MOOCs for quite a bit now, but then the last thing is, how does it relate to theories? Is there a theory about MOOC teaching, MOOC learning? I looked through, well, online learning, but I rely back on a very sort of classical good 7 principles of good practice in undergrad education. and I reflect on what happened to MOOC, it fit in actually 6 of the principles. I don't need to read it out. You can have a look. There's active learning, feedback, time on demand and time on task, expectation, diverse learners' talents, all these, except student-faculty interaction is lacking. So to me, MOOCs actually, it's a very interesting experience for me because it's the first time I have to interact with so many learners, global learners. It's very exciting to me. And you have a lot of good video resources available, which I never thought or even dreamed that I can learn through those materials. But I can now. It's the international interactions that give me a widening my global perspective. And I believe this is one type of alternative learning experience that we can build in as part of the traditional learning experience. So learning is not just about learning one course. If you pick one course, it will tell you there are other related courses. And there are more courses available, not just for undergrads. There are growing numbers of videos for college students, that is, before they join the universities. And I just read it and find out that now, MIT, they will have a first semester building on through this online platform. And if students are doing well, you will be, or you can have the option, register for the second semester through MIT. To conclude, I think the design of MOOC certainly different from the traditional or campus-based of course design. And from my own personal experience, I think the variations in terms of the resources, most important is about helping us as adult learners to reflect on what I learned, how I practice, and also a lot of feedback mechanism built in through the activities is the crucial element for me to learn MOOC. And in fact, more MOOCs is yet to come. So thanks very much for your attention, and it's the last sessions, and I'm not sure whether we can cater any more questions. One question?
Since the MOOC is an open platform, so you read quite a number of journalistic articles, academic articles. If you were not attached to, you didn't have affiliation to a university like ours, do you have access to such academic resources, or they made it available already?
Most of the materials, when you talk about video, journal thing, many of them are available in the course. But some materials, they said, you can only maybe give you a few journal articles. Some of them you have to buy. But a lot of the materials are free. And of course, you also use a lot of web resources in the internet. So it doesn't really cost you, in fact. In theory.
You asked the question at the beginning, why are there only 10% of people who could finish the course? So what's your answer?
The answer is, now when things are free, you can walk in, you can step out anytime at no commitment. There's no cost element in. Second, if you ask me, some of the materials, some of the courses are very challenging. You can imagine some of the courses, I mean, when I've gone through the third course, it required a lot of my doctoral skills in terms of doing the exercise. So those courses are not really for everyone. Some courses are very difficult or challenging in terms of the contents. And so some students who might just graduate or in school, or some people who have dropped out from school for a long time, when they just come into a learning environment, they might have a look. They don't have an intent to complete it in the first place. They just want to find out, have a flavor. Oh, quiz? I'm not interested. I don't want to do any tests anymore. I just want to find out anything. If I have to be assessed, I'm not interested to do anymore. So there are many, many reasons why a lot of people dropped out. And of course, I didn't investigate the reasons why the people dropped out, but it's very common that it's the personal sort of persistence. A lot of these courses, any online course, demand motivation, demand self-regulation, demand commitment. Now, if you ask me, do all learners have that kind of attitudes about learning? So that, to me, that could be one of the major reasons. They don't really want to complete it. They just want to have fun. Oh, there's no fun.
It ate up a lot of your time, as you showed to us. It might be difficult to keep this up for 6 weeks.
I think it's when you look at my diary, that was a real diary. It's up to the individual how much time. They said in theory it's 4 to 6 hours per week per course. Okay, if you think about every evening, if you spend roughly an hour, you spend 4 nights, an hour each night to do the requirement. And very often, it's not the watching video costs you a lot of time. It's the reading part, the discussion part that take up a lot of time. So it's up to you or the students how much time they want to talk to each other, how many messages they want to read or respond to. So that's how much commitment you want to do the thing. So it can be as little as few hours. It can be expended to hours. So it's up to the individual. Yes.
So if some of the courses are so demanding in terms of time and also effort, so what's the reward to be completed? So it's about incentive. So why should I do it? Not just because it is free of charge, but would there be any accreditation? I mean, credits or some kind of diploma?
At the moment, all these courses doesn't tie directly, but there are some courses tied to the traditional course. That is, they can do the online component, but at the same time, they need to finish off the rest of the course if they want to get accreditation. Because at the moment, all this assessment, you don't really know who's doing it. So therefore, the system doesn't allow the authentication of the person. Therefore, there's no sort of accreditation through the system only. But if it's tied to an institution, probably the institution will regulate the official assessment. That is, they might have to sit in examination or do projects in order to complete the full accreditations, credits for the course, the program. To me, it's personal satisfaction. And of course, different learners have different interests. What we are looking forward to, and that is over time, the employers, if they recognize this kind of certification, it will help. There will be definitely some kind of motivation for employees, if not for learners doing the part-time learning at their own time. It's about recognition by the employer. Hopefully, it can happen in some years down the road. Okay, thank you so much. Let's join the rest of the group to see the following session is about the poster presentation.